There we are. Hello.
Hello.
What
I
brings you
appreciate
here?
a long journey.
Yeah, tell me about it. I know.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I contacted you because I really resonated. I've been listening to your YouTube
Uh-huh.
videos and I really resonated with I've been on this non-duality journey for over 25 years.
Yep. So had
And
I. Yep.
and I'm worn out.
Yeah.
I quit meditating 2 years ago because it just all was becoming so burdensome. It's like I'm just.
Yep.
And you know what's really been hard for me is I was raised in a Christian, I live in southern part of the United States,
Mm.
and I was raised in a Christian, not totally fundamental, but pretty strict Christian tradition.
Mm.
And there was always a warmth to the whole spiritual journey to me that would
Mm.
be tenderness, the heart
Yeah.
part of it. And then I found non-duality in the late 1990s,
Yeah.
and it's almost like the heart went out of it.
Mm.
It was all in the head now. Now we're talking about, you know, figuring it out.
Yeah.
And instead of the heart part. I don't know.
Yeah.
That part's been hard for me.
Mm.
I feel like now I'm to the point of just I think I've read every non-duality book out there.
Yeah.
I spoke to Sailor Bob Adamson back in the early 2000s on the phone, and I couldn't understand the thing he said. Uh, then I talked to John Wheeler for a while.
Yeah.
Um, and then I went to Aham, which was, I don't know if you know A. Ramana, who was
No.
a follower of Ramana Maharshi. And
Uh-huh.
I spent a lot of time at that center
Mm.
learning about self inquiry.
Mm.
I did that for a long time.
Mm.
Anyhow, it all felt very dry. I've had moments of really kind of, when you talk about pointing,
Mm.
that really helped me because it's like, come back to this when you get
Mm.
all caught up in here.
Mm.
Just come back to here.
Mm.
And I have moments of that just being really comforting.
Yeah.
But then I'm back caught up in the crazy world we live in.
Mm. Well, you're just back caught up in the mind again, that's all.
Yes.
Because your mind is what's creating the crazy world.
Yeah, Terry. And I had the other night, I woke up and I thought about you. And the first thought I had was of this little like golem figure running around saying, you better do this, you better do that, you shouldn't have done that. And then there was this awareness of, wait a minute, who's that talking? That's the voice that rules me.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, okay. I was where you are. Yeah. I
Yeah.
was. Yeah. Um, I got involved in non-duality in the mid-80s, 1985. And after about 12 months, I had, quite a profound experience. And I went, it's happened. Yeah. Because
Yeah.
I had no other reference point. Yeah.
Right.
Never felt that good before. So I went, it's happened. Yeah. And then as time went by, it faded and it
Yeah.
faded and it faded and it faded until I thought well, it's gone. All I'm left with now is an intellectual understanding. Yet, in the final analysis, I'm here. Terrence is here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, what the hell happened? You know. So then for the rest of my life, I lived in a state of heartbreak. Seriously. I was heartbroken because it felt like, I'd been dropped by God from
Yeah.
grace, from
Yeah.
grace. It was just, like I was in this just the most beautiful, exquisite place. And I literally just felt like I was dropped because it was there one day, and then just in a moment, it was gone. It was gone as quickly as it came on. Do you know what I mean? It was
Right.
gone. And I don't even know how to describe that, Susan. I literally felt myself being dropped back into my body.
Huh.
And it felt so gross, so heavy, so cumbersome, so, And I had enough understanding to know that me, Terrence, couldn't do anything. Couldn't do anything. So I just had to accept what had happened, hoping I'd get, like, it would come back. Yeah.
Right.
And it didn't. And I lived that way uh, for nearly 30 years. I lived
Yeah.
that way. Yeah. I'd even convinced myself that non-duality was a crock of shit. It was just
Yeah.
bullshit. I somehow I'd done a number on myself. You know what I mean? And
Yeah. Yeah.
that's what my head was saying anyway. But I was heartbroken. And 2 marriages later, a son later, had a son. Yeah. 2 marriages later, well, actually more to the point, 2 divorces later. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was still heartbroken, and I was just trying to function in the world the best way I could. But I was heartbroken, and I eventually, I'm telling, there's a reason I'm telling you this. Yeah? I eventually, um, I got so low, like so low, that nobody could even tolerate being around me, even family members.
Yeah. I can
Even,
relate to that.
yeah, even my son, Susan. Nobody could be around me. So I was left on my own, totally on my own. And over that 30-year period, I had a glimpse at other things. I kind of looked at A Course in Miracles for a moment, and I went, oh,
Yeah.
that's just so bloody heady. What the hell? And I always struggled with the whole Trinity thing anyway, and the Holy Spirit. I always struggled with that. Just none of
Yeah.
that ever made sense to me. Um, and I found myself just on my own. I was unemployable. Nobody would employ me. Nobody could even tolerate being around me because I was just so low. I was just so depressed, you could call it,
Right.
but extreme. And one day I was just sitting there by myself in the lounge room, beautiful sunny day outside, and I had the blinds drawn, so it was dark inside. I didn't want to let any light in. It was, painting a picture as to kind of where I was at.
Right.
And I was sitting in my lounge room feeling terribly bloody sorry for myself. Now I was heartbroken, which I've been carrying for 30 odd years. And my son didn't want to know about me, my family didn't want to know about me, and friends didn't want, like I was on my own.
Right.
And that was heartbreaking. When your own child doesn't want to be around you. Family members didn't want to be here. Even when I tried to reach out to them, they had very, very little time for me. And they were doing that for themselves, for self-protection.
Right.
They couldn't help me. And they realized they couldn't help me. So they had to let go. And one day I was sitting in my lounge room by myself and feeling very, very, very sad, very sorry for myself. And I hadn't thought about non-duality, Susan, in a long time. A few years. A few years. Yeah. I'm
Right.
guessing. I'm guessing 5 or 6 years. Yeah. And then even prior to that, it would sort of only come up every now and then, and I'd poo-poo it. And I was sitting in the lounge room and a thought just arose in my head. Maybe I should take another look. Non-dual, maybe I should take another look. Yeah. God only knows where that thought came from. But it
Yeah.
came, yeah, boom. Yeah. And I, for the next 2, 3 days, I just kept going over everything that I learnt, everything that I understood about non-duality. And I came to the same conclusion that I had been coming to, which was I had this profound understanding, this profound intellectual understanding, but yet in the final analysis, I still feel like Terrence is here. I
Right.
still feel like still feels like personal self is bloody well here, and it feels like shit. Now what do I do? Like, what do you do with that? What do you
Yeah.
do with when you've had all this teaching and you kind of know, yet something is missing. Something,
Right.
as you said, where's the heart in it? Where's the love in it? Where's the joy in it? And for 12 months, I did experience that joy. Yeah, but it was way back in the 80s. And that's what I was heartbroken about because it seemed to have left me. And I wasn't brought up a Christian, but my mind was still kind of saying, oh, I'm being punished.
Yeah.
I'm having it taken off me for some reason. I don't. And one day I was sitting at home and I heard myself say the same thing, which was, how is it I can have such a profound understanding of this in my mind, but yet I still feel like I'm here. And that day, that was the last day I ever made that statement, because that last time I made that statement, I heard myself use the word feels. It still feels like Terry's here.
Yeah.
And I heard that word come out of my mouth for the first time. I'd been saying that for many years. I'd been saying that, and I kept missing the word feels, like Terrence is here.
Right.
And I stopped and paused and I looked at that for a second and I went, feels? A character can't feel. A character can't feel. The mind can't feel. Thoughts can't feel. And I knew that I was made up of thoughts. The character,
Yeah.
the personal self, was made up of that. Yet I'd been saying that, yeah, but it feels like I'm here.
Yeah.
I went, hang on a minute. Terrence can't feel.
Yeah.
Terrence can't feel. Yeah. And then it dawned on me in that moment, oh my God, what's this? And all of a sudden, I was 100%, I couldn't have been any more present and any more here than I'd ever been. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was a, it was a rhetorical question. What's this? I, I wasn't wanting an answer. I was just, what's this?
Yeah.
Because I'd been calling this Terrence my whole life. And
Yeah.
for me, the straw that broke the camel's back for me was realizing Terrence can't feel. Because all our problems as seeming persons, especially when we're on the non-dual path, it's all about feeling. That's why we're on the damn path in the first place. I hope I'm going to feel better. I hope I'm going to
Yeah.
feel different. Or I hope I'm going to feel this bliss and joy that I'm hearing everybody talk about, and that I had kind of experienced when I was a kid in my 20s.
Yeah.
And then everything just stopped. Everything stopped. I could have heard a pin drop. I'm sure I could have heard a pin drop 100 meters away. When I say everything stopped, internally, everything just stopped. All thoughts just stopped and stayed stopped. Stayed stopped. And I just felt, for the first time in my life, I had experienced what I would call inner silence. Just complete inner silence, which just means the absence of thoughts. That's all it means. Yeah? No internal dialogue, no thoughts going on. So now, why did I bring that up? I brought that up because, and I mean this, 3 or 4 seconds, and I'm being generous when I say 3 or 4 seconds, before I saw, yeah, I was in the deepest, darkest place you could imagine a human being in. 3 or 4 seconds before that, I was lost, so deeply lost, hopeless, just nothing, nothing. And then 3 seconds later, oh, and it stayed. It stayed. It hasn't moved, it hasn't changed. But what it did give me, it gave me insights into where people get stuck.
Right.
Totally, where people get stuck. Yeah.
Yeah, and it makes me think about when I was in my early 30s. I didn't know anything about the whole spiritual thing other than traditional Presbyterian church kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I had gone through some rough things with my family, and I was had just been trained to be a counselor. I was in private practice. I
Mm.
was feeling absolutely lost. I felt like my family had turned on me. My relationship had ended. And I can remember Terry saying to myself or to God, if you exist, you've got to let me know because this is not worth it.
Ah, that's what I said. I said, if you exist, I need to meet you.
Yeah,
I
I
need
said
to
that.
meet you. Yeah.
And that's a profound, that was at 32. I'm now 67. But what happened was that night, I was awakened in the middle of the night with the quote from the Bible. This is really odd. Seek and
Mm.
ye shall find. And it was like a voice outside of my head that said it. So
Beautiful.
then 2 weeks later, I have another dream. I feel like electricity is going through my body and like it's going to blow me up,
Yeah.
going up my spine. I mean, it is
Yeah.
just coursing. And
Yeah.
I see this figure with a light for the face at the foot of the bed. And all I can think is, I've got to wake up and get down on my knees because this being is all love.
Mm.
It's profound.
Mm.
And I woke up the next morning, sat down to meditate. I had taught myself to meditate. I didn't have a clue what I was doing, but I was trying to learn.
Yeah.
And I literally felt awash in love.
Mm.
I felt like it was everywhere around me. It was in me. It was what we all are. I had this sense of this is, it was joy beyond joy. It was like freedom. It was
Mm.
like total, it was just love.
Mm.
And I sat and cried for an hour. And for a week or so, I was in the clouds. I'd see people frowning, and I think, you don't have to be sad. We are all this an incredible energy. It's nothing to fear. And it faded.
Yep.
And I feel like I've spent the next 30 years chasing
Yep.
that.
Yep.
And it and
That
I
was.
and I said to one of my teachers one time, okay, but isn't searching taking me away from what I'm looking for?
Mm.
And he said, yes, and then he went on to something else.
Yeah.
But I feel like I'm chasing my tail is what I feel like.
Yeah. Look, the I've I put out a video a little while ago. I don't know, a few months ago. I'm guessing. I can't remember how long ago. Um, and it was titled, um, "I want this back," comma, comma, with me then saying, "No, you don't." See, what I did, the mistake that I made was after I had that experience in my 20s and then I lost it, yeah, I
Right.
wanted that experience back.
Yeah.
Little did I realize that wanting that experience back was exactly what was keeping the me in place.
Yeah.
I didn't
That's what I
realize
had
that.
sensed.
Yep, I didn't know. I didn't realize. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I had to let go of that experience that I had. No matter how wonderful I thought it was, I had to let go of that and then just be brand new and fresh and open again to something new.
Right.
Just open, just open.